Randy, thank you very much. That was intended to paint a backdrop for the discussion today. There are a lot of people in Los Angeles who still think the Valley is a white suburb of Los Angeles. The Valley is anything but that, and part of this, part of the film, and gentlemen that we will be hearing from shortly are going to talk about the demographics of the Valley, because it's an important sort of baseline to add to this discussion in terms of what are the unmet needs of the Valley. A couple of housekeeping things, though, I want to do before we get to our first speakers. One, I want to include in the thanks, we mentioned Ken Phillips with the Economic Alliance, Erica Glass, and everyone else from the Alliance who's done such a great job in helping make this possible today, along with all the people we mentioned before, the Hertzberg interns and the actual people that work for Bob, who don't work 9 to 5, trust me, they work. I could tell by that sound little thing he did on the Valley pieces, the little popping thing. No, but all the people on Bob's staff, particularly Barry, but just a phenomenal job, and all of you for being here today. Also want to say a couple things about today. First, this is not a high-speed rail discussion. Okay, so I want to get that out of the way early. That's another panel, another time. We could solve all the Valley's transportation problems today or talk about high-speed rail. It's one or the other. We're going to deal with the Valley transportation problems today and do high-speed rail another time. This is the first of 2 sessions like this. The idea today, and I am very grateful to all the elected officials that are here and have taken time out of their busy schedules, because, and some that are still coming, because this is about listening, this is about learning, this is about participating. We have, as Bob mentioned, the surveys that were done earlier of the transit community. We have a lot of people who want to talk about the unmet needs in the Valley and what we hope to see out of a Measure R2 or whatever Metro at the end of the day decides to call it, if there's another sales tax measure that we hope will be on the ballot next November, how the unmet needs of the Valley are taken care of. We are very, very lucky in the Valley because VICA and the CoG, the Council of Governments, have done a lot of work already and put together a baseline that we can grow from. And we're very appreciative of the leadership that VICA has shown and the CoG, all the elected officials who sit on the CoG, for putting together that plan that forms the basis of what we're discussing here today. But we also want to talk about, as Bob mentioned, or David mentioned rather, the 2 freeways that you've never heard of because they were never built. Other projects that have not happened in the Valley, the 405 Transit Reliever Project, which was supposed to be the next project of Measure R, which is still in the NMTA, and we're waiting to see it sprung, but very optimistic about. There's a lot of things, but also a lot of underlying needs in terms of transit, which we will all get to in a minute. This is designed to be a collaborative process. It's not an adversarial process. We're all on the same side, and we're all working to do the same thing, which is make it possible to get from point A to point B in the same month, year, day, hour, whatever your commute may be. And one of the things we have to remember in Los Angeles, the average trip to work is 15 miles. Jobs housing balance is not something that exists in LA. It didn't grow up that way, the city. It's hard to put back into place, so we need a robust transit system. And the one thing we know, Mel Wilson, former board member at the MTA, former president of the Realtors Association of the Valley as well, and a hell of a basketball player and football player. He used to elbow me all over the place. Knows that there is no silver bullet. There is no one solution that's going to fix it. We all want that one solution that I'm going to get Emily to take so she gets out of my way on the freeway. You know, or we all say, I'll use transit if it's convenient, which I define as within 2 blocks of my house. Oh, by the way, though, you're not going to build it in my backyard, which I define as 3 blocks from my house. And then people wonder why we have no transit. This is also the Valley getting its act together better than we did before Measure R1. We have a CoG now, Council of Governments, we didn't have then. We had disputes within the Valley about rail. That's all in the past. This is all about moving forward. And with the energy of Mr. Hertzberg, who I sometimes think could build these rails single-handedly in a day or 2 just on the energy exerted, we're going to have a good meeting today, a good discussion. So with that, I'd like to start with Kobe King, who is the chairperson of VICA. And we got a mic for you right there. Again, VICA took the lead on Valley on Track. Kobe, we appreciate it and appreciate your being here.
Thank you, Richard. I guess this is on.
Yes.
And thanks, of course, to Valley Press. Thanks to the Economic Alliance, both Ken and Richard. And of course, thanks to our Speaker Emeritus and now Senator Bob Hertzberg. Yeah, no gray hair in that one. What do you know? I like that one a little better, actually. In any case, I just wanted to say thank you again and just give a little bit of context, a little bit of history for what's been going on over the last couple of years, because as we all know, Measure R passed in 2008 and did a lot of good things for LA County. We can't deny that. And in particular, a lot of the needs that the Central City had and a lot of the needs that the West Side had got a great deal of attention. And that's fine. I mean, you have to start kind of with the center. And then in 2012, when Measure J just barely didn't pass, we knew at VICA that there was going to be a lot of effort or a lot of thinking going into what might come in the next sales tax measure. And so among VICA, within our leadership and at our transportation committee, led by Francine Ocean, we started thinking about, well, what are the projects that the Valley really should focus on, and probably more importantly, what would be the Valley's fair share of a next sales tax measure? The feeling was that for Measure R, we kind of got a little bit of back of the line projects, and that was all good, but we wanted to really focus on a couple of things. And one of the things that we focused on was, one, making sure that the Van Nuys line, known as the San Fernando Valley Transit Corridor, which is not only the second busiest bus line in the Valley after the Orange Line, but it's the 8th busiest bus line in all of LA County, that when it did get improved, that would be improved as light rail. And the reason we thought that was because the Orange Line, which by the way is not Measure R money, was put together by Zev and David and Bob and Richard and a variety of other San Fernando Valley leaders, mostly with state money and LA County money, not Measure R money. That when it was built, no one was really sure if the Valley would embrace transit. And in fact, I believe this Thursday is the 10th anniversary of the opening of the Orange Line. Predictions for the Orange Line, and I remember that because it was my 45th birthday. Yeah. You're quick, Richard. But one of the things is that Metro, when they did their studies, predicted certain levels of ridership. Orange Line blew through those ridership predictions almost from the day it opened, and has basically, at certain times of the day, been at capacity now for most of its 10 years of existence. So there's clearly a need for the Orange Line to be improved. More people want to ride it, and what has happened, unfortunately, is that as it has become more crowded, it's slowed down a little bit, and so we're not getting the ridership that we used to. So there's a lot of room for improvement there. So VICA really focused on improving the Orange Line and eventually converting it to light rail, because that's the only way we think we can get the capacity to get choice riders. Now, I will admit that something that Richard said is something that we all do keep in mind, and that is I have to travel on the Ventura Freeway a lot, so I'd like more people to ride the Orange Line. But in any case, it's true. One of the big problems in transportation in the Valley is the Ventura Freeway. And I think anyone who's been following Ventura Freeway politics for the last 20 years knows that double-decking or expanding it's just not going to happen. So how are we going to keep the Ventura Freeway from being essentially gridlock all the time? Well, one of the ways is by improving transit, and the main parallel line is the Orange Line, so let's improve that. And then finally, the last thing is that there was money in Measure R to start studying the Sepulveda Pass Tunnel, and so we'd like to get more money for that. So the bottom line is that's kind of where we came out, and working with the CoG, most of those those projects are now on the priority list for Metro, and we're looking forward to continuing to work with you and figure out what else needs to be done in the Valley. Let me make one last point, Richard. One quick last point, and that is Metro's numbers in terms of what the Valley deserves, VICA believes are artificially low, and that is because just like the Central City probably deserves a little bit more because there's so much pass-through traffic through downtown and the areas around that, we believe that the San Fernando Valley actually is part of a greater region where so much traffic passes through the valley, whether it's the Conejo Valley or whether it's Santa Clarita or the Antelope Valley or even the San Gabriel Valley. The valley is really more than just the 15% of people that live here in the valley. So we think that because of our status as a pass-through, we deserve more. And given the amount of funding in Measure R and in Measure J, that's what we're going to be advocating for. So the Valley deserves more, and we're looking forward to hearing more.
Kobe, thank you. If you would hand that to Jess while that's taking place, I will point out, at some point people will understand that the Valley is no longer the suburb of Los Angeles. The Valley is urban as any part of LA. The suburb actually now is the Santa Clarita Valley. It's not really the San Fernando Valley. And our transportation needs are those of any dense urban area. So, Jess? Yes. Council member, yes, sir. Burbank, chair of the CoG, transportation expert for years.
Oh, for years.
You're up.
Right here. Anyway, well, everything I was going to say was already mentioned.
All right.
So
moving this along.
In the interest of time, good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank the Alliance, obviously the Center, for putting this together. Thank you very much. The CoG. We've only been around 5 years. We're the youngest CoG of all the CoGs. There's like 6 CoGs in the region. We're the youngest CoG. We're only 5 years old. So we're a work in progress. We're learning, but we're quick learners. We consist of 13 members, 7 council districts from LA City, 4 cities being Glendale, Burbank, San Fernando, and Santa Clarita, and 2 representatives, Supervisor Antonovich and Supervisor Kuehl's office. So a wide range of representation on this CoG. We came together 5 years ago to provide collaboration and a voice for the Valley, as we're doing here today, listening to everybody, the different organizations that are involved in this. We have a transportation committee, which is chaired by our LA City Council member Blumenfield, who's here. And it's moving forward together, listening to each other, working for the best possible solution. I don't believe we're going to get a perfect solution, but we're going to get the best possible solution, working together and moving forward and educating. That's the bottom line. We are really focused, the CoG is focused on educating our residents. I mean, that's the way we're going to get positive results. By education, let them know what we want to do, and then move forward, and let's pass that next measure. Thank you very much.
Jess, thank you very much. I know Kevin James, who is the chair of the Public Works Commission for the mayor, was here. He said he had a quorum, though he was trying to make time. Kevin may have left. Okay. Let's move to the video now, the second video, and then after that, we will get into our discussion.